150,000 out of 400,000 people in Hawaii were of Japanese descent at the beginning of World War II. The U.S. Army called for 1,500 volunteers in Hawaii and 10,000 enlisted. About 19,000 Japanese Americans from throughout the United States served during World War II. 25 were selected to take part in the top-secret dog training mission on Cat Island, Mississippi. Japanese American soldiers felt it was their right to fight for their country during World War II, and once they had committed to this, they felt it was their responsibility to show their patriotism by becoming the bait in a top-secret dog training mission. In this way, they were able to help change the perception of Japanese Americans by the United States military. Many Japanese American boys in Hawaii felt they were more American than Japanese. They felt a loyalty to their country and wanted to protect their homeland. Before the attack on Pearl Harbor, many of the Japanese parents wanted their sons to return to Japan and learn the ways of the Japanese culture. This was the first conflict the soldiers had to face. They wanted to prove they were just as loyal as any other American. Until December 7, 1941, they had been treated just like any other American soldier. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, many of the Japanese parents changed their views and felt that if their boys wanted to join the army, they should, because they felt a lot of disrespect from Japan.
I was angered to realize that my government felt that I was disloyal and part of the enemy. And I wanted to be able to demonstrate, not only to my government, but to my neighbors, that I was a good American.
As soon as the Japanese attacked Pearl Harbor, the status of these boys as American soldiers changed. They were ordered to return to Schofield Barracks, and when they woke up the next morning, they found guards all around them. They were given jobs such as cleaning up and digging ditches. They were kept away from other soldiers, and all of their firearms and ammunition were taken away from them. Some were allowed to leave Schofield and help guard the beaches, but always with armed guards on them. While guarding the beaches against a landing attack at Waimanalo on the southeast end of Oahu, a Japanese submarine came ashore. They rescued the sailor and put him under arrest. They hoped that this would help prove that they were loyal to the United States, but still some had doubts about them. The soldiers were tired of digging ditches and being segregated from the other soldiers, and were anxious to really be part of the war effort and prove their loyalty to their country. Many of the Japanese in America were rounded up and placed in internment camps. This was similar to how the Nazis rounded up the Jews throughout Europe. The Nazis treated the Jews as a subhuman race, and in the United States, the Japanese were feared to be spies. At the same time, William A. Prestre, a Swiss refugee, convinced the United States government that he could produce an army of war dogs who would kill Japanese on sight and on their own, without handlers instructing them. Because he believed that different races had distinct smells, he thought a unit of attack dogs could be dropped on occupied beaches in the Pacific that would be trained to devour Japanese defenders based on their smell. Mr. Prestre claimed that he could produce up to 30,000 dogs to form an assault team to take Japanese-held islands by storm. 25 Japanese American soldiers from Hawaii were soon recruited to take part in this top-secret dog training mission. They were not allowed to let anyone know where they were going or what they were doing, which was easy at first because they didn't know either. They were taken by plane, boat, train, and truck undercover so that nobody would see them as they traveled. Reino Sako was one of those soldiers.
They picked 25 of us, and I was one of the 25 selected. Not officer, all enlisted personnel, private, corporal, sergeant. And they told us that we're going to train, secret training, somewhere in the south. But so that morning, they told us, don't say anything to your own bodies, and don't goodbye, and don't say anything.
After several days, they finally reached Cat Island off the coast of Mississippi. Once they began their work, everything changed. They were shocked to learn that they would be used as dog bait in the top-secret dog training mission. The soldiers didn't think it would work because they felt they were just like any other American soldier. Even though they didn't agree with the methods, they felt it was their duty and responsibility to participate and continue to prove their loyalty to America. They were not allowed to make friends with the dogs or the trainers. They were to run and hide in the swamps, and with the snakes it was scary. When they were found by the dogs, they had to put horse meat and blood on their necks so the dogs would attack them. As time went on, the attacks became more violent. They had to whip the dogs, throw rocks at them, and do anything that would help make the dogs hate them even more. This was hard on the soldiers since many of them loved dogs, and it was really scary to be attacked so often. If they were caught trying to be nice to the dogs, they were yelled at and told, "These dogs are not pets. They are the enemy, and they need to be trained to kill you."
They put me in a kind of hockey clothes with all that thing and pushed me up on the tree. And then they gave me a pistol. And then the dog come looking for it. Soon he spot us. I fired a pistol and I jumped down from the tree. And 3 dogs, attacking me like this all over. And then I was so tired so I fall down. They took the 3 dogs away. 3 dogs, just come one time.
After a few months, the project was canceled when it was discovered that the dogs could not distinguish between soldiers of different races. The dogs continue to be trained as sentry dogs, scout, suicide dogs, and to locate wounded soldiers. Cat Island continued to be used for dog training and teaming dogs with messenger pigeons for communication. The soldiers went on to join the 100th Battalion and fight in Europe. This mission remained top secret for many years. These men of Japanese ancestry proved their loyalty to America along with the members of the 442nd and 100th Battalion. Together, these men were the most decorated units in World War II. Even though they disagreed with the plan they were ordered to participate in, they helped to change how others saw them and paved the way for minorities to be accepted as loyal American citizens. President Harry S. Truman honored the Japanese American soldiers for their service in World War II and for fighting prejudice.
You fought not only the enemy, but you fought prejudice, and you've won. Keep up that fight, and we'll continue to win. To make this great republic stand for just what its Constitution says it stands for, the welfare of all the people, all the time.
These soldiers, true Americans.
After World War II, the Army did away with segregated units. A few years later, public schools became desegregated. Today in America, especially in Hawaii, where we live among many different races of people, we continue to work toward accepting people's differences. This continues to be a problem today. One example is how Muslims sometimes dress differently, and people might be afraid that they are terrorists. 25 Japanese American soldiers helped to change the way minorities were treated in the United States military by taking part in the top-secret dog training mission.
I'm convinced that it takes a little while, it takes some blood, some sacrifice, but this country moves forward. You are very fortunate. You live in a great country. There are 33 words that are very sacred to all of us. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.